In a crowded compound on the outskirts of the city stood an old crumbling building. Among the tenants was the family of Emeka Okoro, his wife Ngozi and their 4 kids. Life had become a daily battle. Emeka once worked as a mechanic, but after a terrible accident injured his leg. Jobs became scarce. Some days he returned home with nothing but dust on his slippers and disappointment on his face. Ngozi sold roasted corn by the roadside, but business was very poor. Many nights the children slept hungry. Sometimes they shared one loaf of bread among 6 people. Sometimes they drank water and lied to themselves that they were not hungry. The youngest child, 7-year-old Chika, had become so thin that neighbors often whispered whenever they saw her. Yet the family endured until one night everything changed. One rainy evening, Emeka returned home exhausted. His shirts were soaked, his pockets were empty. He had spent the entire day searching for work. As he entered the house, he found his children crying of hunger. Ngozi sat silently in a corner. For the first time in years, Emeka broke down in tears. "I am tired," he said. "I cannot do this anymore." That night, while everyone slept, Emeka left the compound. Nobody knew where he went. He returned at dawn, carrying a large sack of rice, beans, vegetable oil, and even cartons of noodles. The children screamed with joy. Ngozi stared in shock. "Where did you get all this?" she asked. Emeka simply smiled. "God has remembered us." For the first time in months, the family ate until they were full. The next day, Emeka brought more food. More food and more money. Soon, the family that once begged for food suddenly had enough to spare. Neighbors became suspicious. Some believed he had found a secret job. Others whispered darker things, but nobody knew the truth. Then strange things started happening. Every Friday night, Emeka disappears. On Saturday morning, he returned with money. Every time he returned, he looked different, older and tired, almost frightened. One night, Ngozi secretly followed him. She watched him walk beyond the city into an abandoned forest. Hidden among giant trees stood a tiny hut. An old woman sat outside of it. Her eyes were white. Her skin looked like dried leather. Ngozi hid behind a tree as she watched. The old woman handed Emeka a black calabash. Then she spoke words Ngozi could not hear. Suddenly the wind began to blow violently. The trees shook. The ground trembled. Then she saw something terrifying. Dozens of dark shadows moving around the hut like living creatures. Emeka knelt before the old woman. The shadows surrounded him. A terrifying scream echoed through the forest. Ngozi fled before she could see more. The next morning, Emeka came back as usual. Ngozi confronted him. "What have you done?" she cried. Emeka remained silent. "What did you exchange for this money?" Tears filled his eyes. Finally he spoke. "I only wanted my children to eat." Ngozi felt cold. "What did you give them?" Emeka looked at the sleeping children. Then he whispered, "I sold years of my life." Ngozi laughed nervously. "You are joking, right?" But Emeka rolled up his sleeve. His arms looked like that of an old man, wrinkled, weak, and aged. Ngozi staggered backward. "The woman promised wealth," he said, "but every payment cost me part of my remaining years." Fear entered the room. Yet, despite knowing the truth, they continued accepting the money because hunger is a cruel enemy. Weeks passed. The family lives improved. The children returned to school. They wore good clothes. They ate 3 meals a day. But Emeka aged rapidly. At 42, he looked 70. His hair turned completely white. His hands shook constantly. Then one night, he left again and never returned. Days passed, no sign of him. The police searched, nothing. The forest was searched, nothing. Emeka had vanished. Soon after, strange things began happening in the compound. Footsteps echoed at midnight. Doors opened by themselves. Children heard someone calling their names from the outside. The youngest daughter claimed she saw her father standing near the window every night, watching and smiling. Then people in the compound started disappearing, one tenant, then another.